Talk Conversations brought to you by Barista. Hello and welcome to Think Talk Conversations as we're coming to you from the Barista outlet in Nugegoda, the brand new Barista outlet in Nugegoda. Think Talk Conversations with Barista, of course, focuses on inspirational young leaders who've actually thought tall to come out of tough situations in their respective industries. The trials that they've actually gone through before they become triumphant is what we're focusing on. We're focusing on the stories before they obviously became successful, which is exactly what Think Talk Conversations with Barista is all about. Now today we have another very inspirational young leader, Mullen Sri Lanka's Associate Vice President and Client Services Director, Praveena Perera, is on the show with us today. Praveena, thank you very much and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Shaq. Lovely to be here.
All right, Praveena, let's start off with some very, what can I say, basic questions or easy questions before we get into some serious stuff. Can you share a bit about your journey and what inspired you to pursue a career in the advertising industry?
So to be very honest, advertising happened very randomly. I never had this, ambition to be in advertising. Yes, my background was in marketing and economics and business, but when I was a kid, I never thought of being in the advertising industry. However, what happened was when I was soon after school, so I was interning at a bank, and then there was this other girl who said that, my sister works in an advertising agency, and your personality suits an agency so well, why don't you just give it a shot? And what I did was actually they called me in for an interview, and then that's where I started at Leo Burnett.
Right.
Leo Burnett, Sri Lanka. After that, I got an opportunity to work at LoyalDB at that time. And then another stint, actually that was a longer stint, which was at Phoenix Ogilvy.
Right.
And then I'm back at Malino, Sri Lanka. I've been here for almost 6 years now.
So was there a culture change for you, working from a bank to working into an advertising agency? I mean, banks 9 to 5, advertising agency is 24/7.
No, actually, banks is also not 9 to 5.
Oh, really?
I was working at the back office, so it was all operations. It wasn't like a 9 to 5 job.
Right.
However, it was not what I really wanted. I knew it.
Right.
Yes, first it was a bit of a culture shock because the first day I went was like this massive party. It was big beach party.
Right.
And it was really fun though. But then culture shock, yes. But then there was a lot of things I learned there too. It was almost like walking into a school and learning the basics of advertising. So yeah.
Okay, so now was there now in life, like for example, as you move on, there's always a point in life, especially it could be personal, it could be professional, where you are faced with challenges.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, we're all faced with challenges on a daily basis. Can you possibly share a pivotal moment in your career that actually tested your resilience and your determination, leading you to be the successful young leader in the advertising industry today?
So there's been quite a lot of moments like
Right.
that, which has really tested my resilience, I would say. But there was this one moment which I really thought changed everything, and that was the day I thought, okay, no, this industry is meant for me. Was when I was at LoyalDB. It was my first campaign I did for this client, and it got rejected. And I was an account executive at that point. And at such a young age and just starting off my career, and to go through like such adversity like that was like shocking. But what happened was that the agency worked together. The client had rejected the campaign, as in like we've shot it and everything was done, and
Right.
the client rejects it. And then the agency worked hard and turned around. Finally, it went on to winning an Effie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and what I learned through that process was that I built strong client relationships. I understood like how the process really works, and the fact that I didn't give up either. And that really was like one of those defining moments for me.
I mean, that could actually could possibly have changed your thinking completely? Because as a young executive, when you have a client rejecting your campaign after everything is done, that must have been something where you can sit in the corner and mope, but that's not what you did.
No, it's not what I did. No, of course, I felt really like terrible, but then there's no point crying about it, or just sitting around. You should just get your act together and think like what you're going to do next. What can you do to sort this matter out? And that's what we did. Well, of course, it's not just me. It's the entire team.
Right.
But I was part of it. So, but that was like one of those moments.
How do you define resilience? And if you can share a time where you've been faced with a significant issue or a challenge or a setback, so to say, and your career has been tested, how would you define resilience at that point?
Actually, I would say maybe quite recently as in a couple of years ago. Resilience for me is not really, giving up. I am the type of person who would roll up my sleeves and dive deep into the deep end. And I also kind of set kind of bold goals for myself, which
Right.
also, thank you, which also scares me. And I like that. But I would say if you're asking for an example, this was during my pregnancy. I actually was facing this situation. It was 2022. That was a time when everyone was migrating, right? And there was a severe situation in the industry where we couldn't find talent because all the good talent had just left. And I had a massive portfolio to manage, and it was just myself and just one other person in my team to handle a massive portfolio.
Right.
And I didn't let my pregnancy really bring me back or kind of slow me down. Yes, pregnancy is different from one person to another, but I thought, I'll take this moment, I'll take this challenge as an opportunity and to really work hard. And in fact, I think that year I achieved all my targets, and I think I overachieved that year. So that was also, these are the things that I do. I always tell myself, you shouldn't hold yourself back, no matter whatever situation it is. You should just dive deep into it and then just take that challenge on.
Has that been your mindset right throughout? Basically, take it on full on without
Always. I don't like this whole attitude of, especially women do this to themselves, thinking that they're always like the victim. I think we should try to get out of that, mindset now, and we should just think of ourselves as, because women always talk about equality, right? Then you should also manifest that upon yourself. So you should think that you're not the victim, work as hard, and that's how you should get things done and get to places.
How do you keep yourself motivated and focused during times? I mean, have there been times where, let me put it this way, have there been times where you've actually been on the edge of the seat, that you are in a position to say, hell with it, I can't do this anymore? You're just about to throw in your towel, but what have you found to actually focus and create a motivation out of that to keep going?
Yes, there has been moments like that. Actually, everyone has moments where they doubt themselves. Where a couple of years ago in another agency of mine, and that was because I had a tough boss. I kept doing my presentations over and over again, and she keeps rejecting them. And then it was just a bit tough for me, and then I didn't even have a job. I thought I'm just going to give my letter in, because I was thinking maybe this job is not for me. She was surprised, and she was like, what on earth are you trying to do? Because you're fantastic at your job. I'm just trying to train you, which is true. Ultimately, she became the boss who taught me everything from A to Z, and I love and respect her to date. But it's not something that I do alone. That's the thing. When it comes to situations like this, I always have a lot of other people. I've been very blessed to have fantastic bosses. So that boss was one of them. And right now at my workplace, I have a fantastic CEO who's always supporting me. There was a situation recently where I was doubting myself, and he just told me, no, it's not you, the problem is this. So I've been blessed to have other people who's always helped me and supported me when I've had these kind of doubting moments. So it's not something that I've done alone, really.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there have been times where you were on the verge of completely giving up, right?
Yeah.
But what made you change, apart from that situation with the boss? What made you change?
Well, okay, let's say that my bosses motivated me too, saying, don't give up. Taking that feedback also, within me, I have that attitude of also not giving up.
Right.
So the motivation from them only helped me, and I always take that kind of motivation from other people, and with me I have that attitude of not giving up, and that work together, and that's how I kind of move forward.
Right. How do you approach failures and setbacks in your professional journey? I mean, one example you gave was being a young executive, your campaign was turned down and it was rejected, right?
Yeah.
So you just explained to us as to your team rallied around you. Let's talk about personally. If you're not around your team, how do you, approach failures and setbacks? How do you move on from that?
I don't fear failure,
Okay.
because failure is something that actually helps you grow.
Right.
Because you learn from those mistakes, and sometimes I've repeated those mistakes, to be very honest.
Right. I think we all have.
Yeah, and then, but the thing is, I'm not afraid of failure. I've kind of accepted that it happens in life, and that has helped me. That
Right.
kind of mindset and thinking really helped me.
How do you get into that mindset? I mean, look, coming from a young lady who is a leader at the moment, to accept the fact that failure is not a problem, right? It can happen. How do you get into that mindset? Because it's easier said than done.
No, it's true. So when you face failure, yes, it really, I become all dramatic and upset for sure.
Right.
But then again, I tell myself, you know what? Fine, this happened. You just have to keep going. You just move forward. You need to be able to just go beyond this. I keep telling myself this. I hope others out there would do the same without giving up, because the moment that there is this moment when mistakes happen, or there are moments where you fail, when it keeps happening, you need to realize, okay, these kind of things always it tends to happen. It's
Right.
beyond your control.
Right.
And therefore you shouldn't be afraid of it, because we're all human. It's only natural for mistakes and failures to for us to come across failures.
Right.
So therefore that's the mindset I have, and that's what's helped me.
So, in moments of doubts and uncertainty, what sources of inspiration or the support structure do you actually turn to keep yourself grounded and still keep moving forward?
So like I said earlier, I've actually been blessed because I've had some fantastic bosses around me. Apart from that, I think my husband has been one of those people who's always been one of my biggest cheerleaders. In fact, I told you the story a couple of years ago how I thought, I'm just going to give my letter.
Right.
He was the one person who said, no, just don't do it, be calm and cool, just breathe, these things happen. So he keeps motivating me. That's one thing. Apart from that, again, I keep coming back to bosses because I've had some fantastic male bosses in my agency right now and it's really strange, right? Even recently I had this training session where they were talking about women empowerment, and I brought in a slightly different perspective where I said, there are certain men in our life which we need to appreciate as women too, because I've truly experienced that in my life where there have been lots of fantastic male bosses who have supported me. So right now, my CEO, Mr. Thailand Bartlett, who's fantastic. I have my creative heads who's always supporting me. These are the people who kind of motivates me and supports me throughout my journey right now. And, something that keeps me going as a new mom is right now my daughter, because I really want to be able to inspire her one day. I'm a working mom, and what happens is people can say many things, right? However, the reason why I'm doing this is because one thing, I can give her a good life. I also want to inspire her. One day she needs to grow up and be like, oh, I want to be like mom,
Right.
or this is what women can do.
Right.
And also, I think I'm also doing this for myself so that I can enjoy motherhood and my work life, equally. So I think these are the people who keeps motivating me and keeps me going.
Grounded.
Yeah.
That brings us to a very good point, because as a young mother, balancing the demands of being a young mother and a professional young leader must be quite difficult. How do you maintain the balance? And firstly, how do you maintain the balance? Secondly, what would you tell other young mothers out there who are in current situation like you to navigate through these stormy weather, I suppose?
They say when you have a kid, there's a village to support you, but right now it's not like that, to be very honest, because my parents are too old to look after my baby, hence I have to heavily depend on a nanny and my husband,
Right.
who in fact, knowing that I have a very challenging career, he decided to take on freelance jobs so that he could be a little bit more with my daughter. But it's not that I'm not with my daughter. So
Right.
here's the thing. I always believe in, after being a mother, it became even more like evident to me that focus is so important. Because when I'm at work, I focus on my work.
Right.
But when I'm at home, it's all to do with baby and personal stuff,
Right.
and nothing else. So that had really, being focused really helped me in these challenges. So some people might say, oh no, but you're spending more time at work rather than being with your child, but that's not how I'm seeing it, because I spend quality time with my child.
Right.
So focus is actually the point there,
Right.
which I definitely take on. Yeah.
What would you basically indicate to other young mothers out there who are trying to navigate through these challenges? Now, you found an equilibrium.
Yeah.
You found, let me say, you found the right support structure because your husband was happy enough to go freelancing. You found the right nanny, because not many people are blessed enough to find the
Yeah.
right nanny also at the same
Yeah.
time. But there are lots of mothers out there who can, or who are going through these challenging times, yet they don't want to give up their demanding or their challenging job. What would you advise?
My thing is, there is always, if there is a will, there is a way. You can find someone. Let's say if you have to be at an important presentation, but there's no one to look after your baby. What I want to tell these moms is, there's always someone out there. Get that support. Don't think that if your neighbor says, I'll look after, I'm not saying don't go to your neighbor.
Love
but
thy
if,
neighbor.
no, but if there is a trusted person who tells you, I would help you, and lots of people tell you this, right? Like friends would be like, oh, I'll babysit, I'll help,
Right,
whatever.
right.
That's the time to use that support.
Right.
Don't try to take everything upon yourself. And that's one thing I learned being a mother. I'm not expert at this at all because I've just had one baby.
Right.
But one thing I learned is, there are things that some things you have to let go of. Some things are beyond your control, and you really do need support of people, trusted people.
Right.
So just rely on them and get that support. But don't give up on what you want to do or what you want to achieve in life just because, yes, baby, family is the most important thing for sure. But don't give up on your dreams. There is always a way you can achieve that too.
Did you ever think at a point when you did become the mother that you would like to take a couple of years off for your baby, maybe till she's about 5, 6, and then decide to go back to work? Was that an option you were playing around with?
No, that was never an option. Because see, I was someone who was always working. I was very, very driven, and I always wanted to, like I told you earlier, I wouldn't give up. I would always just try to move forward. Baby wasn't planned, but it was like such a pleasant surprise. And I thought, you know what, this is another new challenge, new experience for me. And I didn't want to take a couple of years off because, to be very honest, in my head I thought, and to be very actually there were some moments, because I was at home for about 5, almost close to 6 months, right? I wanted to get back to work because I wanted to, be able to be part of something and, stimulate my brain in a different way and not just, nursery rhymes the whole day.
Yeah, it can be quite taxing.
Yeah, but so for me, what really worked was that I went to work, and when I go to work, I'm really missing my baby, and then I come home and I enjoy that moment really even more with her, rather than there are mums who would like take years and years off, and then later they're a bit resentful. They're like, oh my gosh, now my children have grown up and I'm like left with nothing.
Right.
I feel you need to have a balance. You need to have a balance where you focus on yourself and on your children, and that balance is very important, and it works really well. I mean, it's worked for me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, it hasn't been easy.
it's not easy.
Right.
I mean, I think I put it, for most people, I think they actually think that it's easy for me because I make it seem very easy, right? But it's not like that. I have my own challenges, because there are days when the nanny is like, oh, I have to take a day off, or I have to, take leave for whatever. And then I'm thinking, oh shoot, what should I do? But it's not that I'd be like, I'll just give up. I cannot do this. I'll give up. I won't do that. I'll somehow figure out a way. And yeah, I mean, that's how.
That's
I've
thinking
done it.
tall, really.
Yeah, I
That's the
guess.
whole idea. That's thinking tall, and that's thinking, of course, out of the box. How do you personally define your success? What motivates you to continue pushing the boundaries that you love to push, that you obviously are not someone who gives up easily? But how do you define your success?
I don't know if I'm successful, to be very honest, because success is something it's like probably being content, right? Being happy with whatever you have. Yeah, for me, success would be that, and I don't know. The problem is, though, if I am content with what I have, I won't be challenging myself, so that kind of worries me.
Okay.
Because, I don't want to be content with myself or my work all the time, because then I'll be kind of relaxed and think that this is it for me. But if I am to move forward, I have to keep doing things better and better. And to be very honest with you, the day I would feel that I am successful would be the day that my daughter comes to me and tells me, this is a new thing that happened after my daughter, but I would really hope she'd come one day and say, Ami, you're my inspiration, I want to be like you. That day I would be like, okay, I'm successful.
I'm done. I'm done.
I'm done.
But you're in an industry where you get a lot of pushback. Being a female in the industry, which is driven predominantly by males, and you've shrugged all that and worked your way to the top. Like we spoke about earlier on, people only see you at the top. People don't see the struggles that you obviously went through to get to the top. How difficult was it?
So I really work hard, but the thing is, I really enjoy it.
Okay.
I love every little, extra hour I put in, because I know it's part of a bigger purpose. It's nice to see your brands doing well, your work out there, the good work that you've done, being appreciated. So you were talking about the industry being predominantly male driven. Yes, it is, but things are getting better now. You are seeing more and more female leaders or taking on leadership roles, which is a good thing. But I would say that, like I said earlier, I don't look at myself as a victim. I always work hard, or as same as a guy, or even harder, because we can. There's no physically, probably if it's a physical job maybe we can't, but that's where it kind of stops. But however, apart from that, everything else we can. And my successes, it's never defined by gender. It's equality, and if you need to go to a place one day, if you have a goal, you need to work hard. You need to have merit. You can't just think that, just because I'm a woman, I might get this. No, that's not how it works. You need to work hard. And that journey to the top is not easy for anyone. Everyone works hard, even men. So you need to work as hard as.
Do you feel that because you are a woman, you need to work twice as hard as a normal man does? Have you ever thought of that? Or have you been put in a situation where you need to work twice as hard?
No, I've never been. I'll be very honest, I've never been put into a situation where I have to work twice as hard. But I have worked hard. I've been put into situations where, there are projects which are failing and you need to pick it up kind of stuff, which I have done. And I like those kind of situations. That's the thing. The other thing is, Shaq, you need to be able to love what you do, like I said earlier, and then you don't see these challenges as, challenges really. I think the other thing is, which has worked for me, is that I look at every, challenge as an opportunity. If there's hatred thrown at me, I turn that around as an opportunity as well for myself. And people sometimes are like, how on earth did she do it? But yeah, that's how it is.
Well, Praveena, we're into the final question at the moment, and it's been a treat listening to your story. Of course, coming up from a young advertising background to obviously pretty much sitting right at the top of an advertising agency. But there are lots of young leaders who may be facing their own trials and challenges on their path to success. What message or advice would you like to give to them?
Number one is, I think you need to love what you do, because if you don't, then you're just actually wasting your time and the other party's time as well. You need to truly identify what you love to do and just do that. You need to also be genuine. Don't try to be someone else. I've kind of always, that's been one of my mantras, to just be myself and not be like anyone else. And the other thing is what I said last, which is take every challenge as an opportunity. Turn it into an opportunity for yourself. Negativity exhausts me, to be very honest. Look at things in a positive mindset, and it will just really help you see things differently. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, Praveena, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure. And today, Praveena Perera on the show, a young mother and, of course, a leader in the advertising industry, a successful individual who's obviously worked very hard to get to where she is right now on the show. Think Tall with Barista. We've got more inspiring young leaders coming up right here on our Barista platform. We'll see you the next time. Good evening.